Hey guys, so in my last video I talked about how the B site on Inferno works. Today I'm going to talk about how the A site of Inferno works. So the difference is obviously size. The A site is the big site. It's actually a very large site, especially for this small map. Like it includes the olive pit and then all of this site, and then there's, all of mid and everything. Well, I guess sites are just big in this game. It's the big site. There's 3 guys, maybe 4 guys. And instead of the small site, which just has an anchor and then a rotator, this one has an anchor, a rotator, and then I call it either the support player or the secondary anchor. I kind of like support player, or the term support player for this, because they work very closely with the anchor. So those 2 players are something of a duo. In my mind, who I always think of is Taco and Coldzera. Taco would always play the pit position, and Coldzera would play this porch default box area. And Taco would very obviously hold one angle. So maybe he would hold, well, he didn't have an op, but he would hold this. Well, watch. Well, I think, can you still see heads over this? I think if you stand here, you can see heads. But anyway, he would watch Apps, and then Coldzera would watch porch, and then Taco would use his nades to help with Coldzera's angle, and then if Coldzera wanted to peek boiler, Taco would flash for him. And anyway, the whole idea was to make sure that Cold get as many kills as possible, and then they won. So typically the anchor will play pit, and then the secondary anchor will play site somewhere. And then you've got the rotator, who's the one who runs around Moto and runs to mid. You'll notice that in both B and A, the rotator is the typically the opping position, and that's because on CT side Inferno, it's very easy to avoid an opper if you know they never move, because those CT rotations are so long. So to mitigate this, players like Simple and, well, not so much Simple, because Simple does whatever Simple wants. Players like Device, well, when Nico ops, he does sit. He does stay. He plays a spot, and he switches up his weaponry. Deagle, rifle, op. But he doesn't switch up his position nearly as much as Device. So I guess I'm sticking with Device. Device switches his position up constantly. He'll be top B, then he'll be top mid, and then maybe he peeks boiler, and repeat. Maybe he's peeking like top banana, and then he's coffins the next round. The rotator moves around a lot. Now, just like on B, you can play aggressive, you can play basic, or you can play retake. The difference with A is that you have more than one way to be aggressive, and you have more than one way to be passive. So what I mean is, on B, we either pushed banana, or you went to the back of the site. Or you went towards CT spawn. Those are your 3 spots. On A, if you want to be aggressive, you can push mid, or you can push apps. Those are your ways to be aggressive. Both are viable. They're better for different weaponry. They're better for different skill sets. I think of O-Town when I think of pushing apps. Or JW for pushing apps with an op. And then Kenny S has that crazy highlight shooting Zipniks in the face through the apps window. That's pretty sweet. Anyway, you can push mid or apps. So you have to call that ahead of time. Then if you want to play default, you've got a couple ways to do that. you can play pit or you can play two guys in the site watching lane, and then a rotator, probably like Arch or Moto. Probably Moto. Or Cubby. Rotators have so many spots they can go on this site. It's crazy. It's fun. It's fun to be the rotator on this map. You're always running. You don't see people very much because usually you're coming in behind smokes and things. Anyway, also if you want to play default, you could do like two guys porch and then one guy site. Or you can do like a couple guys arches. That's getting into retake situation. You can put a couple of guys in pit, I guess. I guess that might count. No, that's more of a retake thing as well. So if you want to play to hold the site, you can double up porch, you can double up site. And then, as I mentioned, if you want to play retake, then maybe you put two guys in the pit, and then one guy in library. You could do that. You could have your opper in library holding, the basic angle, and then two guys in pit. And if they take, especially back when teams would like double smoke this, you could just hide in the pit. Even now, like a lot of times, if you just don't peek, they will they'll plant the bomb, and then you can get a kill and hide. And if your opper is still alive, Moto, you can like throw some covering fire your way and sort of prevent people from pushing you out, or if they molly you, then you can smoke it out, or if they run up lane, you can like hide in apps. Like that's kind of how you would retake. The other way is, have an opper here playing this kind of an angle, and then have two players arch playing these angles. And if they smoke you off, you just say, oh well, give them the site. And as they take the site, I don't know, flash through the smoke because it fades as they're like going through porch and stuff. Because they're not gonna, a lot of times you will have one guy hold, but as long as you can, push out, maybe get a kill, and then the smoke's gone, so then you can just hold it. So instead of having 3 ways to play the site with B, there's 6 ways to hold the site, which makes Inferno a really fun map to watch on the CT side, because it's got all those, it's so complicated. But in Pugs, all you see is one guy arch, one guy porch, one guy apps, and then if that apps guy has any creativity, he's going boiler, he's going pit, he's going on the balcony, and maybe the mid guy goes to Moto occasionally. But like every freaking Pug just got one guy holding this and one guy holding from over there. Maybe he goes Cubby. Like there's no creativity, but with the team, you can all move up, all move back, and then if you're going to push, you decide what you're going to push. So in each of these setups, there are obviously pros and cons, and there are responsibilities and liabilities. So if you're going to push mid, your liabilities are apps. They could go there. What I mean is, they could run T-spawn apps, and then there's nothing you can do. They could also just run up B, which is, fine. If they push alt, like if they're trying to get to these steps and get up there, I want you to kill them. Like you should be able to kill these guys and like you can either throw this smoke, to keep those guys at bay and then shoot over there, or you can come around and throw that smoke. And then you can shoot the guys down mid. Neither of these are great smokes. They're not perfect because these hallways are so wide now. So then you fight the lower mid guys. If you can push all the way to Mexi, cool. But normally all you're expecting is to get to about here. where you can't be seen, and then you peek out and take shots and then fall back and fight the mid guys. You know, you've got, and then, and if you take too many gunfights that you don't think you can win, but you're still alive, then you can escape and you can go into a retake, or you go into a hold. Like you kind of feel it out what you're going to go for. Now, if you go apps, you know, you can either, you've got this angle to fight, you know, these guys all around here, or you've got this fight. And you kind of have to take both those fights at the same time. Because if you want to go boiler, you're going to have to deal with this bedroom. And even if you come over here, you're probably going to have to deal with the bedroom because these spams are very good. You've got one there, and then you've got one there. And they're both very good for taking out apps. So if you're going to push up here and it's not an eco round, you're going to want someone boiler. I went the wrong way. I got lost. You're going to want someone boiler to sort of keep an eye on this line, just so you guys don't get spammed like that. You can also spam like this one here from way down here, but it's not as good of a spam. I'll show you. Oops, that one was high, but it goes right. So if you hug this right wall, and then you kind of have to like take a shot in the knees. No more adventuring for you, but if you take a shot in the knees, then you can at least get like close apps. Sometimes you can surprise someone if you have a CZ or something. What else do I want to talk about? All right, so when you've pushed up, those are your responsibilities. You've got, you know, if you push mid, you have to fight mid and alt. If you push apps, you have to fight bedroom and brown hall, I guess would be stairs. The downside is if the terrorists go the other way, then you just say, alright, they can have the site. If you push mid and they go out apps and plant A, then you say, okay, we're going to hold mid, and it's up to our B rotators to hold library and arches. Like the B rotators have to be on their game to get over there, hold those positions, because if the terrorists plant and then just run right through to library and plant for library, like you're not going to be able to retake that. But if terrorists plant and stay in the site, like stay site and pit, that's doable. That's fine. Like that's very winnable. I mean, the pit's hard to deal with, but pit's always hard to deal with. That's why sometimes you just want to stack pit and say, look, they can come A, but if they take A, they're not going to take pit. We're just going to hide and use our utility to be very annoying to make it easier for the retakers. If you're playing to hold, like if you're just playing from the site, or you're playing double porch, you're playing to hold them off. Like you're playing to kill them or die. It's not like retake where you're playing just to kill them and live. It's not like pushing where you're being like, no, we will kill them. And if we don't kill them, then we are going to, it suddenly turns into a retake. Like it's much riskier, but we can kill them right away. We can also get information and then rotate. But when you're playing just basic, you know, you've got someone here, and you've got another guy here, and you're just peeking off each other. Then if they come in, you either kill everyone, or you both die, and then the B players have to save. Like that's kind of the way it goes when you're doing those positions, which makes it good for pugs, because in pugs you can't count on the guys at the other site anyway. So it does you no good to get information early because they don't know how to use it, but it also doesn't do you any good to set up their rotations because they're not going to rotate properly anyway. So you just have to like, all right, you know where I am, I know where you are, we're just going to fight and screw retakes. Even though retakes happen because like the terrorists aren't organized after they plant. So that's the difference between pugging and either scrimming or officials on C2 side anyway. The last setup I haven't talked about is, I mentioned it briefly with the pit, but for retaking, like I said, you're trying to get kills, but you're trying to hold territory that is not the site. Like, you're trying to get kills, but your job is to hold this line. Arches through Moto. No terrorist can be allowed to come into that area. And the reason for that is you're trying to box the terrorists in for a controlled retake. That's why it's called playing for retake. So if you hold this, then it is your B player's job to take banana. Like, generally you can't play retake on both sites. So if one person's playing retake, that means certain things for the other site, which means I'll probably have to make like an overall video, not just this is how you play A, this is how you play B, talk about like how the whole map comes together. But this will be the start. Like, these two videos are the basic for how to play this site. And this will expand to other maps, although I may have to explain exactly why at another time.